I didn't think I was going to be nervous, and I'm pretty nervous. I'm really nervous. I looked over at my cousin Dave and he said, "You're nervous?" And I said, "Yeah." Don't worry about it. So I'm going to do my best. I've had a big part of my gift of sexualized violence is yoga. And if you look at the cover, you can actually see two people in the bottom corner. It's my dad and my stepmom, Jackie. And Jackie is the reason I found yoga. And Jackie's a big part of my healing, as you know. When you read the book, you'll find that out. So fast forward 15 years later. Closer. Okay. Whew, I can hear myself. Fast forward 15 years later, and I am just coming home from my 6th yoga retreat. Thank you, Jenny, for helping me learn how to teach yoga. Jenny taught me how to teach yoga. She's my yoga teacher trainer. So 6th yoga retreat ended just hours ago, and everybody kept saying, when I was sharing this launch, they were saying, "Well, why? You're so brave. I can't believe you're doing that. I would never. I could never do that. I wouldn't do that. Why are you doing that?" And in the moment, I was like, well, why not? Why not, really? It was through a combination of things that allowed me to find the strength to share my story. So I guess it's a bit ironic that my knees are shaking right now, but that's okay. But I understand why they're saying that, because we don't talk about sexualized violence. We never talk about sexualized violence. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to share it. Nobody wants to say, "Hey, that's me. That's me." And so through yoga, through feminist-based support, I was able to find the strength to be able to share my story. And I started sharing little by little with classmates, with yogis, with random friends and folks who I may bump into. And over time, people started responding and saying, like Peter had shared at the beginning, "Oh, wow, thank you for sharing that. That means a lot to me, because I can share, or I can feel like I can heal." And so ironically enough, over this last weekend at the yoga retreat, a woman who I've been in communication with, she was actually a fellow yogi during our YTT, she came up to me 6 months ago and said, "Listen, Tricia, I gotta share. This happened to me. So thank you, because now I can say that this happened to me, and I can say it out loud, and I can share it with someone." And then we moved on from there, and she has since grown. She's shared with her family. She's come out with it, and people in her family are now healing from this as well. And this weekend, she shared for the very first time in front of a room full of yogis, only known to just a few, her experience. And she said, "Yeah, I am a survivor of sexualized violence, and I'm letting the cat out of the bag." And she turned to me and she said, "Tricia, thank you for that, because I would not be able to share that if you had not shared, and you paved this way for me." And I thought, holy shit. Wow, thank you. And thank you for sharing that with me, because I need that strength here tonight. And during the same weekend, not long before that, another woman came up to me and said, "I have a gift, and I'm gonna cry." She brought me aside and she said, "You have touched me spiritually, psychologically, emotionally. You've affected who I am as a person. You've affected who I am as a person because you've allowed yourself to be vulnerable. You've allowed yourself to be brave. You've been honest. You've been sincere. And so here's this gift." And my mala recently broke. And it was a very hard moment for me when that mala broke. I was actually helping a friend through sexualized violence, and I quickly gathered up the beads and fought back the tears and tucked them in my pocket. And this woman handed me this mala yesterday that she had made for me specifically with the intention of me. And where I shared with her that I don't know how to thank her for this gift. And she shared with me that she doesn't know how how to thank me for my gift to her. And that moment when we had this exchange, I realized that my gift of the hit is more than what I've written in here. My gift of the hit is that other people can experience this as a gift, and I can experience them as a gift. And it's a constant cycle of building and growth. And Peter, I thank you for this opportunity. I had no idea I was going to be this emotional. I was not nervous all weekend. So I have a very little piece. I have a tendency to read really fast when I'm nervous. I was actually reading to my husband Andrew on the way in, and I said, but it needs to be 45 minutes. And he said, well, if you don't read it at the speed of light, it might be okay. So we'll see. Okay. So as my journey continues to unfold, I am often reminded of all that I am and all that I have done over the past 15 years because of him. Because I am a survivor of sexualized violence, I was able to connect with myself in a way that would never have been possible. Every big decision I have made since my first repressed memory has been a direct result of the sexualized violence. The path that I have chosen and am proud to be upon is here because of him. For that I am grateful, and I am grateful to him. No longer do I have a need to hate him. The anger and hatred I held within was one only toxic to me. After years of abuse and reliving the abuse through PTSD, I have found peace. I've gone through a myriad of emotions and have overcome countless hurdles. I don't want to hold on to negativity anymore, especially something as heavy as hate. So I moved beyond forgiveness, and I offer gratitude to my uncle. And for his part in my journey, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. The release that has brought forth because of him, I found lightness. It's created a welcome spaciousness in my mind and my body. Clarity. This newfound openness empowered me even more. I had spent so much of my healing journey keeping my body physically fit so that I would be prepared to protect myself if I ever needed to again. However, I was also preparing and strengthening my mind. I now find myself physically strong and mindfully strong. And I believe that mindful strength is what propels kindness into the world. Every survivor has a very different story, and my goal is not to be a token for women survivors of sexualized violence everywhere. I can only confidently say that my story, what happened to me, was supposed to happen. I know this because I belong on this path. It is my dharma, the path I was meant to follow. I feel it every morning when I wake. For years I wondered why it all happened. Today, I can clearly see that the gifts I have received and the gifts I continue to receive, such as this mama, are plentiful. Through the process of healing and forgiving the unforgivable, I dug deeper within myself than I likely ever would have. By connecting to the depths of myself, I was able to make meaningful connections within and with others. And ironically, Peter always catches me at the busiest times in my life for these deadlines. When we had to have our final chapter in, I was in the process of completing my MSW master's thesis proposal. The same week it was due. Somehow I made it through. I don't remember that time very well. And now, for this launch, it's also during the time that I'm trying to actually complete the first draft of my master's thesis proposal. Thesis. So, once again, I'm faced with another one of these gifts, and the gift this time is that I've actually completed real research through exploring the interconnection and the integration of feminist-based healing and yoga for women survivors. And I found out some pretty amazing things, and that wouldn't be possible without the gift of sexualized violence. So I'm very grateful.